Hey, what up, y'all? This your boy Sherry Speaks, man. I know I want to talk to you guys about Daredevil Season 3, Episode 1, Resurrection, and man, we saw just that, man. The very beginning of this episode, man, we just pretty much just saw Matt Murdock just down on his luck, self-pitying himself, and it was up really to his mother and Sister Maggie to actually wake him up out of his slump, and what I really enjoyed was just seeing how it came to be, how he survived. It actually turns out that, we get pretty much a recap to where the season finale of the Defenders came, where the building fell on top of him. It was rewinded really really fast, but we get the pretty much the sequence of when the building fell on top of him in Electra, and based off of what the father said, he said, "Look, you were the only one that made it out that we saw get it out. Everything else was surrounded by rubble." And Electra died months ago. Because remember, when he woke up, all he kept saying was like, "Where's Electra?" He kept having flashbacks to seeing her. Where is Electra? So not only just that, but Sister Maggie was very, very, very hesitant in helping out Matt Murdock because he was a vigilante, and because he just felt like he just needed to be somewhere else. They didn't want the trouble. But thanks to the father, he was able to persuade her. Now, mind you, Daredevil Matt Murdock now he was pretty much deaf in his right ear. Most of his powers were gone. Actually, to be honest with you, most of his powers were shot. He couldn't hear out of his right ear, which will leave you completely unstable. Your equilibrium is completely off. I've been there. We've even seen the scene where he was actually getting ready to get himself back in shape. And in boxing, he told Sister Maggie, "Look, I feel like I'm underwater. I definitely know how he feels. I definitely know where he's coming from, being that I'm a person who has an impairment as well. Definitely know what that feels like. It is not a good feeling." He actually doesn't start to get his senses back in order until grabs a neti pot, and he just pours it down his sinuses, and it flushes out all the blood and soot that he got from the building. His That's a lot. Because remember, he couldn't feel anything. He couldn't do anything but hear a buzzing sound. He didn't really hear anything but a buzzing sound. So when he flushed out his sinuses with a neti pot, he was able to hear the E train go by, and the other three on top of that. So he was able to get his senses back. He starts to box again, get himself back together. But before that, a few slides before that, he actually had a bit of a conversation with Sister Maggie, where he was just down again. He was just down on his luck, and he quoted. There's a big ass pile of his Bibles when he was in an orphanage, and the book of Job, comes up in the play, and pretty much, Matt just pretty much recites it, saying, Job was a loyal servant, to God, and he did all he could. He slaughtered 10 goats in his name. I'm sorry, he slaughtered 10 goats and for every 10 of his children, thinking that I would give him good grace. Then one time he did that, God ends up massacring his 10 kids, scorching his land, and giving them whiplashes that eventually turned to bloody welts. And in Matt's, perspective at that time, Job was just a pussy. So he said, "Look, and I can relate to that because I used to just give myself my blood, sweat, and skin willingly. So I understand that." So Sister Maggie gives him his cross. She hangs it over by his lamp, and that's when he decides to flush out his sinuses with the neti pot and gets himself back in order. Now, while he's doing that, he decides he hears trouble. And very reminiscent of season one, with a classic and iconic black scarf. And so that's what I'm gonna dub that costume. He goes into action and starts to smack it down on these guys that are harassing this old man while his daughter is trying to intervene and stop the beat down. Now, as you all know, Daredevil, he's a little rusty, but he puts up a good fight still. He's still got this thing going. He gets the shit kicked out of him a little bit, but hey, I give him props for just sticking up for the guy. But then we also go into the next slide of the very end of the episode, where we see a fallen FBI agent, a fine FBI agent, after he celebrates his son's birthday. The finances aren't looking pretty good, being the fact that his sister-in-law has cancer. She's cancer free today, but for 3 years he hasn't had a pay bump. And we saw him going to Tammy Hatley. He's pretty much his supervisor. He's pretty much his CO or whatever you want to call it. And she just said, "Look, I'm not going to give you a pay bump, because even though that's actually what Ray Nadeem has earned, doing being the agent that he is, seeing that he's a fine agent and all, she can't give that to him because apparently, and I guess this is just to my knowledge based off of what was said here. I'm not really too sure about it. It's been a while since I studied my books, but according to the bureau, if your FICO score is below 600, being that Ray's his was 557, they consider you a vulnerability, a liability, and very, very vulnerable. So until he fixes his finances, they can't give him a pay bump, even though that's actually what he's honestly contractually obligated to obtain, because he's earned it. But we'll see what happens. But now his CEO pretty much gave him the same old case, which is him. He said, "Look, man, do I really gotta do this? Every month we go to this guy, he gives us nothing." That guy happens to be Wilson Fisk, and we also got a little bit of him earlier in the episode as well. He's in his cell, and Donovan comes up and tells him, "Look, we got some trouble." Miss Mariana, if the agents catch her, if the feds catch her, she's pretty much looking at prosecution and prison time, whether she's on U.S. soil or overseas. That's if she's found. So I'm guessing now what's going to happen is Fisk is going to pretty much try to get Ray Nadeem on his side in order to, fix his finances, and so forth. But I would hate for that to happen though, because he's a pretty good ass agent, man. From the looks of it, he's just a really good man. But he, as a man, we have this tendency to always look out for our family, put all the weight on us, and try to fix things. It's just how it is. But I'm about to see what he's about to say, what Ray's about to say to Fisk, and I'll be right back. Holy crap. Okay, so it looks like Wilson Fisk, turned on the lead faucet here because he's raining some shots here. And one shot hit Special Agent Nadeem right where it matters the most. Fisk literally opens up the dialogue after Nadeem goes down. It goes through the cookie cutter routine. Says, "Look, man, why don't we just cut to the heart? Why don't we just cut to the part where you tell me to eat shit, and we can get the fuck out of each other's faces?" So that's when Wilson Fisk, dons his heart, dangles his heart in front of the Special Agent Nadeem, and says, "Tell me something, Agent. Do you have anyone that you care for? You would do anything else to protect?" To which Nadeem, deducts it as Wilson Fisk threatening him. He said, "Look, I've paid my debt for the mistakes that I've made, but the woman I love shouldn't have to pay them too. I will do anything to protect her. So I want to make a deal." And it cut off right there. So I'm pretty sure we'll continue that in episode 2. I'll be right back with episode 2 of season 3. This has been your boy Sheriff Speaks, man. I love you guys, man. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Make sure you guys hit that like button. Subscribe to the channel for more. If you guys have any requests on what I should do next in terms of videos, let me know in the comment section below. I've always there.